Tutorial, I'm going to explain to you how to create a Gutenberg block in 3 simple steps. I had given a talk on the introduction to Gutenberg yesterday in WordCamp Pune. So if you want to learn more about it in terms of what Gutenberg is and what was the need for it, and all that information, different reference links, etc. Whenever the video is available, I will share the link with you. But the idea behind making today's video is just to explain to you and show you how to create a simple block using a plugin. Okay, so let's begin then. So the first thing we're going to do is we will go ahead and create a directory, plugin directory inside of my plugin folder. So I already have a WordPress installed. So inside plugin directory, I will create a directory called SG block. S for simple, G for Gutenberg, and block. That's why I've named that way. And then we'll create a file called SG block.php. And then we will create some more file, one for JavaScript, where we will register a block, simple block.js, and then we will have two style sheets. One will be style.css for the front end for a block, and the second one will be for the dashboard editor. So let's name it as editor.css. Okay, so let's start with writing a plugin header. So I'm just going to do a copy paste just to save time. Okay, so over here we have named a plugin as simple Gutenberg block, plugin URI, description, version, author, and text domain and domain path and all of that stuff. Okay, so let me just activate this plugin. I'll just go to install plugins, and here it is, simple Gutenberg block. I'll just activate it. Currently it doesn't do anything, but it will eventually once we start coding. So let's register a block. So in order for us to register a block, we have a method available inside WP blocks. So we have WP blocks dot register block type. That's the name of the function. Okay, let me zoom it out because most of the videos I've seen, they keep the screen, the font size very small, so you can't really see much. So I don't want that to happen. I want my users just to be able to see it clearly. Okay, great. So it takes the first parameter as the namespace, and the second parameter, and slash, and then the name of the block. So name of the block. Okay, so let's change the namespace to the name of the plugin. So this namespace basically is the name of the plugin or theme. So let's put it as SG block. It needs to be unique. And then this will be the name of the block. So let's keep it simple block. Okay, it takes the second parameter as an object which contains different properties. So the first one is title. That will be the title of the block. And we need to use internationalization also, so we'll use wp.i18n. This is for internationalization, and then double underscore for translation, and let's name it as simple block. The second property name is description, and again we'll use the same method, which is wp.i18n. Okay, and this is the description of the block. Okay, the next one is the icon. So the icon that will be used for the block. You can use all the dash icons, the default WordPress dash icons that are available. So if we check here, all the dash icons are available. You can choose any of these. Okay, so I'm gonna use, and this is the name basically for the dash icon. So I'm gonna use universal access alt. That's the name of my dash icon. It's one of the default ones. Okay, and the next one is category. So if I had to show you, if you go to add new post and click on the plus icon, so this is the title and this is the icon, and then these are the categories. So you have common, formatting, layout, elements, widgets, embeds. So let's say I want to put it here in the common block, so I'm going to say common as my category. Then you will have the edit method. So I'll say edit function, and this needs to return something, and we can use a method called wp element dot create element to create an element. And if you want to create a p tag, use p. If you want to create heading tag, then you use it accordingly. Okay, and then take second parameter as different attributes. So if I want to say I want to add a class name, I can just say custom block. Okay, and then let's make it a little small. Okay, then the next parameter will be the text inside of this p tag. So let's say hello world. Okay, and then similarly we have a save function as well. I'm just going to copy paste. Let's say we name it as save, and let's return something else here. This is saved into the database. Okay, great. So that's all you have to do so far to register a block. Okay, so I just want to share with you as to what are these functions do. So the edit function describes the structure of the block and represents what the editor will render when the block is used on the dashboard, which means when you click over here and select the block, what will be rendered at this point is decided by edit function. Currently it doesn't do anything, it just returns this p tag containing a text which is hello world with the class name custom block. But later on in the upcoming videos I will share with you how to make this block editable. Similarly, the save method defines how the attribute will combine together to generate a final markup that can that then is serialized and saved into the database. It will decide how your content would look like at the front end. Okay, so when you go ahead and save it, publish it, how it's going to look like on the front end will be decided by the save method. Again, this is not doing anything apart from returning a static content, which is the p tag with a class name custom block and some text in it, which is this is saved into the database. Okay, so now since we've registered a block, we need to obviously in fact we have called a function to register. It's not registered yet. We have to enqueue our file, which is simpleblock.js. So we have to register this file, and then we can also register the style.css and editor.css. Okay. So in order for us to do that, let's go on to our main plugin file, which is sgblocks.php. Let's define some constants. Let's name our content as sg plugin URL. So we're just defining a constant that gives us the URL up until our root directory, and second parameter is plugin URL. Name of the plugin is directory is sg block. Similarly, we can do that for the path as well, the directory path. So dir path and this is going to be plugin directory path and then file constant, magic constant. Okay, great. So what this is going to do is this will be equivalent to the URL up until my plugin directory, and this will be the path up until my plugin directory, the root, okay, of my directory. Let's define a function where we will register our blocks files and register our scripts as well. Okay, so we'll actually register scripts, not files. Okay, function, let's name it as Gutenberg custom blocks, and let's hook this function to init hook using add action. init, comma, we'll put the function name here. Okay, great. Now what we're going to do is we will use, you already know about it I'm sure, we'll use WP register style function, and let's put it as block front end style. And let's put these parameters. So we need a handle, a unique handle, so let's name it as SG block front end styles. And the next parameter would be source, so let's use a constant here, this one, and then this gives us the path up until the URL up until SG block. Then we need to enqueue our style, so register our style, which is style.css. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that there. Next parameter would be dependency, so it's going to depend on WP edit blocks. It should load after this script. The next step is the version number, so I'm going to use file time function for that. I will use this constant, and then the file name style.css. The reason for using file time, guys, is because if you don't use this, if you keep your version number constant throughout, then whenever you make changes in your style, then it would pick up the changes from the cache. It won't pick up the changes basically because you'll be using the cached version of the file. So for development purposes, I personally use the file time. So what this is going to do is this going to give me this timestamp every time you make changes in the files. If you change anything here, then it will return a new timestamp, and that timestamp will be definitely unique each time, and it'll be the version number. So because the version number will change, it will reload the style file. Okay. Similarly, we'll do that for the editor style as well. So block, let's name it as block editor style. This is for the dashboard style for your editor, and we'll name it as SG block editor style. Okay. Okay, and let's name it as editor because that's the name of the file is editor. Okay, great. Again, this also depends on WP edit blocks. And next up is going to be, we're going to be registering this script where we have defined a function, sorry, where we have called a function register block type. So it's a WP register script because it's a script. First parameter is the handle, so let's name it as SG block editor.js. Again, I think I can just copy the whole thing just to save time, and this will be simple block.js, and the same thing here as well. And this depends on other things as well. So for example, I have it as, okay, let's have a look. We have a WP element, then we have WP editor. You may not need all of these dependencies, but later on in our project and to upcoming videos we will need them, so I'm just keeping them for that reason. Okay, this is components I18N. Okay, so just to tell you, the WP blocks, the WP element actually includes the WordPress element abstraction for describing the structure of your blocks. Okay, and here I think we just need WP blocks, not edit blocks. Okay, WP blocks includes the block type registration and related functions. Components are for components of when you're going to be using the React with ES6, that's when we will need some component. We need to import components, so it's for that. And then we have the editor, we have the element as well, and this is for internationalization. Okay, so it has this dependency. These need to load first, and then we are loading our script. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it here. Let's try it and see if it's working. If it isn't, we'll see. Okay, let me have a look. Okay, yep, we have to do one more thing. We have to use WP, sorry, not WP, we have to use Register Block Type function. So basically we have registered it, but it's not been enqueued. So in order for that to happen, so that they get enqueued, we'll use Register Block Type function, and this will go ahead and enqueue all of this at the right places. Okay. So the first parameter is the namespace and the name of the block, so I'm just going to use that here. And the second parameter is an array of arguments. Okay, so it takes the style, and we have to mention the hook, sorry, the handle. And then the next one is editor style, and we will put this handle. And then we have to do editor script. I'll put it here. Okay, perfect. So just to let you know, this editor underscore prefix handles will only be enqueued in context of the editor, while if you're using style or script here, that will be enqueued both in editor and when we are viewing the post on the front end. Okay, so for the dashboard we are using this editor underscore method. Okay, sorry, editor underscore. Okay, if we want to include it in the dashboard side. Okay, so this style goes on the dashboard, the script goes for the dashboard, and this goes for the front end. Okay, if you want to include any script on the front end, you will use script over here, and then you will put the handle name over there. Okay, great. So basically, you can assign these as handles associated with your block using the style, editor script, and editor style block type registration settings using the register block type function. Okay, great. Let's refresh it. Brilliant. You can see now we have a block. So we had registered in the category common. So if you click on common, you can see we have a block. Simple block is the title, and then you have this icon coming from Universal Access Alt. If you click on it, you see Hello World. So if you do an inspect element, you can see this is the p tag, which is created by this method create element, and it says custom block, that's the name of the class, and inside of which we have the hello world, which is the text that we put inside of it. Okay, so you must be wondering, what is this WP element over here? So just to tell you, WP element is actually an abstraction layer of React that WordPress uses, okay, Gutenberg uses. So if you do wp.element, and then if you check inside of it, you'll see you have children component, create context, create element. This is the method that we're using here. And then even if you go ahead and check React here, then you will notice you have similar methods here: children, component, you have create element, all of that. So basically, wp.element is an abstraction layer of React that the Gutenberg uses. It includes its method. In fact, it also extends its methods. You must be wondering, why did the Gutenberg not use the React directly and use the abstraction layer? The reason for this is because if we wouldn't have done that, then everyone would probably be using their own version. They may use their own version of React, and that could cause problems, that probably some of the functionality may not work as expected. So that is the reason why WordPress, to keep it similar for everyone, for consistency basis reasons, it is using wp.element as an abstraction layer of React. So it's already got all the methods that you need here. Okay. Great, perfect. So now that you see over here, this edit method is responsible for what is being returned over here when you select the block, and the save method is responsible for what gets saved into the database. So let's publish it and let's see how it looks on the front end. If you click on view post, you will see this is saved into the database. So currently the edit and save method are all they're doing is just returning some elements, and that's here it's being returned over here in the dashboard. So it's actually not editing anything, which means these are not editable just yet. But in the upcoming videos, when I'll be teaching you how to go ahead and probably make these editable, add some images, give the opportunity to the user to edit this and add some links and things like that. That is the one that is the time I'll be teaching you how to do that here. But just for your information, how to go ahead and create a simple block is what is being taught in this tutorial. Okay. Then similarly in the save method, it is not actually going to save if user save anything that the user types over here, because it's not editable currently. It is just saving what is being returned here. Okay, so that's that. So I want to show you how this works in database. So if you go into database and if you go to, let me just refresh. If you go to your database, go to WP posts, then browse, then you check the post content, scroll down and see how it gets saved. Let's do a Control A, let's take it somewhere. Okay, so I've already pasted here. Okay, see how it goes. Okay, okay, so the name that we use over here, this name, okay, is used on the comment delimiter as this. Okay, so let me break this down for you. So first one is WP, then we have used the namespace, which is the name of a plugin, directory SG block, and then the name of the block / name of the block. So this entire thing that's been used by WordPress over here. Okay, then inside of this we have the content, and you can see it adds this class besides the class that we already mentioned here. It is also added this class, so WP block dash SG block dash simple block. So first it's added this class by default, and then it's added the rest of it, which is coming from here. Okay, and then it goes as ending as well. Okay, great. So basically the save function defines how the attribute will combine together to generate a final markup, and it is then serialized and saved into the database. It will actually decide how the content will look like in the front end. Okay, so since we now know how to register a simple block, okay, let's discuss how we can change the style on the dashboard for this block and on the front end as well. So let's say you want to change this. So what I'm going to do is inspect element, take custom block, and in my editor.css, because remember that's responsible for the styling on the dashboard for your block. So I'll just go ahead and say background. Let's set it to blue. What's your favorite color? Okay, let's say blue. Okay, let's refresh the page, and sure enough you can see the background doesn't look good. Let's change it to color. Okay, let's refresh the page. You can see the color has changed. If you inspect element, you can see this style is being applied by editor.css, and you can also see the version number, right? Currently it's showing 602. If you make any changes, let's say you change it to this color and then refresh the page, you don't have to do a hard refresh. Automatically the version number will change because it's picking up whenever the file is changed, it's changing the version number. So let me just, okay, you can see now it's changed. Now it's 629, right? That's how it's picking it up. It's not picking up from the cache memory. Similarly, for the, if you want to change it for the front end, I'll just go to that block. And currently, if you look at the front end, as you would expect, it is not changing anything into this. So you need to write it. Again, the class name was custom block for that as well. This was the class name, remember? Okay. So style.css, let's put back, let's put color. Let's change it to, what do we change it to? Let's make it this color. And sure enough, you can see it's changed. Now remember, we put hello world in the editor, but what is being saved is this is saved into the database. The reason for this is because that is what we are returning in the save method. Whatever is being returned by the same method, save method is the content that's going to be saved into the database, as well as will be showing on the front end. Okay, so later on in the upcoming videos, when I will teach you more about it, how you would use ES6 to register your blocks, and how you would actually convert that into ES5 using Babel, because browser doesn't understand ES5. You have to convert ES6 into ES5 using Babel. We'll be learning how to use WEBPACK to go ahead and bundle all your files and giving you which will give you a single JavaScript file that you can enqueue or register. Okay, so that's when you'll learn how to go ahead and make this editable, and giving the option to user to edit the options from the block, and that's when we will write all the codes to get it saved over here as well. Okay, so I hope it was good learning from this video. Stay tuned for the upcoming videos, because there's a lot coming more. You will learn how to create a block or register a block using React as well. You will learn WEBPACK and ES6. Okay, thank you very much. Bye.